Joining us for this session, we have Ed Barasett, who is the Director of Standards and Technology for Elster Solutions. As part of this roundtable, we have Walt Sikora of Industrial Defender. Not an AMI vendor per se, however, I wanted to include him on this panel because they've recently partnered with Elster. Essentially, Industrial Defender has been in the ICS part of the business, and now they're sort of crossing over in AMI, and I think that's a good thing because I've been telling people all along, you really should consider AMI as being an industrial control system. So I'm sure the experience you bring is actually quite valid there. We also have Ido Dabrowski and Robert Former from Itron. Ido Dabrowski is the current security lead at Itron. And correct me if I'm wrong again on this, Bob. Bob is the
head of security research and testing. I came up with the title myself.
I got chewed out for using the wrong title earlier. So, and then of course, last but not least, is Stephen Chasko, who is the principal security engineer at Landis & Gear. Landis & Gear, I found out, by the way, is what, a 140-year-old company or something like that?
Yeah, we go back to the 1800s.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day when they actually used to rub sticks together, right?
No. Strictly electrical metering.
So this is the A team, and I'm going to start by
Mr. T then.
rather softball, I guess. No pinatas. No pinata session, I promise. So your organizations, in large part due to your specific participation, have demonstrated and to continue to demonstrate what I would term extraordinary leadership in the AMI security space. There's a lot of AMI companies out there, by the way. And I'm not saying that everybody except these are the only good AMI companies, but these are some very good companies and ones that I've, again, had the pleasure to work with. All of you are deeply involved in industry groups and standards development efforts to this very day. Could each of you describe some of your involvement, how your organization has supported your involvement, and how this has helped you build better AMI security? And we can start over there with the Itron folks and work our way this way.
So, so we're involved in a wide, like I said, a wide variety of the standards development organizations, everything from IEC to OpenSU, which is not really particularly a standards development organization, but it's an industry group. ANSI, trying to think what else. We've been involved with NIST and COSUM, IEEE. We've done some work with IEEE. From a perspective that it provides us a lot of insight into where the industry is going. It also gives us the ability to provide our input. As far as our organizational support, it's been wholehearted, especially on the security side. Our senior management recognizes that security is a key component of an AMI deployment. It recognizes that we as a company cannot afford any kind of issues, basically catastrophic issues, what you would consider like the Microsoft Code Red or Slammer going through an AMI system, especially one of our systems. We look at it from that perspective, that it has a very high priority among our security executives, and one of the key features is that they support not just from an internal perspective, but that we then help to drive it into an industry-wide perspective. So that's why we have a lot of support for our participation in these groups and getting our voice out there, as well as taking what we learn from those groups and bringing it in, internalizing it into our development teams, into our corporate culture.
I'm Ed Barasett with Elster. We have been involved, well, let's see. Let's start out with me personally. I've been involved with the ANSI C1222 as the chairman of that group. Been involved with a number of the other ANSI standards, C1218, C1221. C1219. I've been involved, well, I've been the chairman of the ANSI C1222 group and the corresponding IEEE group as well. I've been involved with the IEC groups, a number of them. There's IEEE is another venue in which we've had some participation. Also with the IETF, I'm a co-chair with Darren Heifel of the AMI SEX subgroup. Been involved with, way too many of the cybersecurity pieces of the NIST end of things, and I'm probably forgetting a half dozen of those. But so that's just me, and I'm not the only guy working on the standard stuff. So I think just there, that shows that there's been a significant commitment, both in terms of money to actually send me to all these places, and also time, my time away from the office, not answering my email, and being able to participate in things like this. The way that's helped us is a number of things. First, in the course of a number of the standards activities, especially as regarding security aspects of them, by being directly there and involved. So I personally have been attending standardization meetings in this realm since '96. So been around for quite a while. And one of the things that's advantage to Elster for all of that participation is that we not only get to see what the early drafts look like, but also to try those things out early on and find out whether they're really going to work or not. By preparing for these various standards committees and the meetings, we can actually look at other corresponding standards and see where they might apply, bring things in. So all in all, I think it's been pretty good. Not every standards meeting you might imagine is particularly exciting or fun. It's going to shock some of you, I know, but
Oh, don't I know it?
it's still worthwhile, I think, continuing to go to these things, and it does bring a benefit to us and to our customers.
Yeah, so I would kind of echo the comments before. This is an area that receives a good amount of effort. It's a funded activity within Landis & Gear. It's out of our CTO office, and this is not just a U.S. effort, but a global effort within the IEEE, IEC, ANSI, the NIST efforts. I think one area to point out is the NIST efforts in particular are something that we really appreciated. NIST giving these a common place for some of the security-related activities to coalesce. That's one area in particular that we spent a good deal of time, and it's a large team, kind of to Ed's point. I could list a series of activities, but there's quite a few people active in a variety of standards groups. The commitment is at an executive level, and it's comes from our customers. So our customers expect interoperability. They expect us to be working out ways to have defined interfaces. So from that perspective, it's a reflection of this industry, not just a reflection of our company.
Right. And from Industrial Defender's perspective, the interoperability and the secret sauce for us is the agnostic nature of our capability to monitor and protect various types of control systems require our presence, at least if not physically as part of the teams on these standards, but certainly watching, monitoring, participating in the calls. So various IEC, industry groups like the AMI SEC and OpenSG, but projects like LEMNOS is very important to us, where we can demonstrate the interoperability and the capability of being able to secure and monitor various types of platforms.
Well, great. I wanted to say that all of you, despite the fact that you are working for competing organizations, know each other very well. And it's not just because of your involvement in the same groups, but I like the term co-opetition. Many of you may not know this, but they use each other's parts in their products all the time. And I wanted you to sort of address that. how does that work out? How does that potentially build better security and interoperability? And, you know, what are your thoughts about that whole cooperative spirit that's sort of become entrenched as part of, you know, the AMI security?
I'll take a shot at that. So that is true, and it's got a long history that we have different pieces and parts that all have to play nicely together. So, of course, reluctantly, we have to actually play it nicely together as well. And that's obvious. There's an obvious benefit to the utilities who are buying our stuff, that you don't want to get locked into a single supplier. That's a stated policy of a lot of places, and there's some good reasons behind that. The way that works for us, so to take as an example, there has been a number of times where the communications part of our system has been preferred by a particular utility, and they say, you know what, we want that part of your system, but we want somebody else's meter because we've had a long history and we don't want to change. So we work together to try to take what we have and adapt it so that that's possible to do. In other cases, it's the other way around. It's our meter and somebody else's communication system. So during the course of that, one of the things we often find out is that even where there are standards, there are varying interpretations of what those standards actually mean. And since personally, I'm also deeply involved in a number of the standards activities. One of the things that feeds back into the standards activity. Well, those guys interpreted it that way, and those guys interpreted it this way, and I interpreted it a third way. It's clearly something wrong with the standard, assuming we're not just all bad people or incompetents. So in a number of cases, that's come back to the standards committee, and we've actually addressed misinterpretations or loose language in the standard to try to tighten that up. And depending on what the outcome is, I know that we have changed our meter in certain circumstances to match a new common understanding of what this stuff actually means. And that's good. That's good for interoperability. That same notion that we have to actually have all this stuff work together also has a great deal of promise in making sure that the interoperability of the security pieces work together. Because if a key has to be delivered to a distant node through an Elster system from an Itron head end to a Landis+ gear meter, then obviously we all have to be pretty much on the same page as to how that actually works. So I think it's healthy the way it is, and there's going to be more of it.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that, what I was saying about the concept of it makes for a healthier environment for our customers. It makes for a tighter environment in many respects because we have to learn how to interoperate and how to integrate our systems with theirs. Again, as mentioned before, customers do not want a monolithic stack. Many customers shy away from it because of their experience from the Windows side of the IT side of the world. But also they want more reliability, and also in some cases they want the individual organizations, the Itrons and the Elsters and the Landis+ Gears to compete with each other because it's based on it's a better pricing for them. Okay, so it's essentially very much a capitalistic concept. Get them to compete, but then they have to work together in the end. And when it comes down to security, you do get these various interpretations. Everybody seems to say, what does it mean? Oh, that's not bad. That's a bad concept. Not that that's a bad way. Don't go there. Does it say should or does it say must? That's better. So what is? Anyway, those interpretations provide for derivations and for variances, sufficient variances that cause problems later on down the line that could cost the customer more money. So if we can tighten those variances, we can ensure that we cover the bases in terms of our interoperability, in terms of security, we are basically providing a better environment for our customers to have the best product, from their perspective, the best product out in their deployments, bar none, and that they are able to get the best, the best return, best value for their money in that respect.